There you go. I'm doing that Clive here.
Then I'll start again. Thanks to you, Finn, for inviting me to the Blot today. And it is a great pleasure to be here co-featuring with my poetry sister, indeed my birthday twin in this Moonchild month, Genevieve Ray. And I am so comfortable to be here at home with those I consider my poetry family. So to start off today, I'd like to call on Zumkonto to join me in launching a poem that you might have heard before. We wrote it together to honor his nephew, Sponel, on a previous feature. And here it is.
We are family, interlocked until eternity through palms whose fingerprints are libraries for diviners to read. For even with sand in their eyes, they do not blink even once, soaking in our bloodline one ancestral page at a time. We are family.
Who first knew bristling thorn bushes and sweet flowing maples, divvy trees that drive their shoulders into the wind, and soft palms that mark the clave in time with salt-scented zephyrs from the sea. We are an orchard,
replete with family ties, resplendent in their defiant petals, such that bees reward their graceful nature with honeycombs, pregnant with the sweetness of sunrise. And when the sun kisses us, we are dripping with the syrupy, candy-coated light of our ancestors. We are family.
Hens flow with the pride of the elephant, fox, deer, and dolphin, that our descendants may hold fast the rhythm and the rhyme, the meter and the measure of life-giving breath, Sirocco, Mistral, Föhn, and Chinook.
We are family, united
we are
in the power
family.
of words, shaped like haiku and ghazal, sonnets and villanelles, with hearts that never miss the beat of the street.
We are a whirlwind.
In the center of our council of elders, with every grain of sand it picks up as it swells, becomes a humongous sandstorm of prayer that answers itself as if a god to its whims, traveling at dangerous speed in our dreams. And when we awaken, our skin has been chiseled smooth with the whispers of yesterday, and we have been baptized by every inch of dust found in our forefathers' graves.
We are family, born and made, choosing and chosen to gather across tides and time through every season. We have come to greet you, sons and daughters of other mothers. We celebrate your voices in every one of us. We gather together at this poet's table, welcomed and welcoming.
Our family is home.
Our family is home.
Our
Our
family
family is
is home.
home. Kanto. On the theme of home, I was told this spring that my surname comes from an old Anglo-Saxon word that means the place where the house has stood, strong house. Days when our backs are bowed beneath the weight of love, across the months and miles, we celebrate the nights we lie together to share our dreams, with hands to stroke knotted spines, warm palms to fair all burrs, and tongues we bite decisively, where once they spun like the blades of planes prepared to flee. Stone by stone, sorrow by pleasure, grief by joy, we are building a strong house to shelter all the gold of our days. A tremendous piece of gold in my house is my daughter, Julia. Storm horse. I unburied my chin from my mother's neck and turned my face to the snow for the first time at only 3 days old, even before my father slowed the revolving door that we could bundle into that moving wedge. I yearned for raspberried cheeks, frosted lashes fluttering like impatient nestlings in the stiff December breeze. Through the years, I have come to cherish the palette of a winter's night, silver, argent, gunmetal gray, and the monochromatic calm of full moon shine. As I walk a midnight path ablaze in the river of heaven, amid the squalls and torrents of autumn and spring, I am the storm horse who flees the sheltering roof, daring the elements, yet sure-footed, certain that I will outpace every lightning bolt, if only I can slip my harness and turn to face the gale. Also in my house, my dear sister Michelle, whom some of you may know as a poet and photographer, she sent me a beautiful image of the moon being crossed by her spirit bird, the raven, and this poem. Moon, said Raven, you are the ride or die, never the star, always the supporting player, yet all eyes turn to you in love and extremity as you mirror the vast beauty, hope, and possibility that surround you with ever new expressions of healing and delight. I am born to break away, to fill the sky with ebony music, restless, powerful, and proud. My intelligence inspires warriors as they gird themselves for battle. But too soon, I become the dark omen and a gathering of my kind and unkindness. They do not know what I know. We are just the same, you and I, outsiders, outliers, otherworldly. You are everywhere with me. As poets, we are at home together, and we often inspire each other. Here is a piece that I wrote for Lexington Poetry Month at the instigation of our poet friend, Leonard Lunt. It's an ekphrastic piece that was inspired by a line drawing of Picasso. Moon dove, perhaps your hopeful mind has learned to trust and believe, even though we do not hear the notes that only dogs can hear, and human eyes cannot detect all the fractal aspects known to bees. If you wait for the fireflies and comets after the midsummer sun, you will see the lustrous dove as she strokes the delicate cheek of her mild friend. For the brightest bird will always find a gentle nest beside the kindest smile. Perhaps you do not yet believe, but you still may come to know at least this much is true these full moon nights. I was walking along the street in Toronto this week, and I wrote a little something that my birthday twin admired, and this is for her. This is for her at her request. Feather. Noon hour maples cast peekaboo shade on the agglomeration of pebbles that pass for city sidewalk. Woven into that lacy cement, a nearly indistinguishable feather, silver gray and charcoal at its tips, peacefully harmonizing memory of wings and promise of footprints now tucked into a passing pocket. As some of you may know, July is the month of the full buck moon, and there are other names for our full moon this month. And there are quite a few of us moon children here in the room today. And this is also for you, for our July birth flower, the water lily, also known as nymph. Under the bright hooves of the full buck moon that churns through the midsummer sky, nymph rises from the dark water, feminine spirit of the sea, borrowed star in the still murmur of the lagoon, orbiculate wings like welcoming hands that span continents cool and tropical, bringing joy and beauty into bloom, unity in botanical geography. I'm often inspired in my writing by plants, both northern and tropical. We share 50% of our DNA with trees. If it is true Your recipe and mine are as similar as they are dissimilar. When I do not know if we look at the setting sun or the rising moon, and further, if I even care to decide, please let it be so on this veiled morning that I have your powerful lifeblood, your resilience in the eyes of storms of heat, ice, passion, and hatred, and a desire to stand a little longer. Birches. We planted those birches outside the gate the week you were born. They were beautiful in summer as we sat on the deck waiting for the vidalias to caramelize on the grill. We watched you climb atop your playhouse to leap from its pink roof into the silver shade of dusk. They were beautiful in autumn as you stood on the deck of the neighborhood Olympic pool, lips blue, mummy-wrapped in towels, waving goodbye to summer vacation. And they were beautiful in winter as our breath billowed against the French doors to the backyard. You tapped your little fists along the hoary glass to make dimpled footprints on the panes. Those souvenirs are long gone, and your father too. But the birches are still beautiful in spring, with their hopeful rosaries of green outside the gate of the house where you were born. Toronto trees and St. Martin trees, the roots of trees. I do not know if the tamarinds and oaks guard their feelings beneath thickened skin, pockmarked by blights and storms, natural and unnatural. I cannot say with certainty if forest memories ebb and flow through their xylem and phloem only to accumulate at last in emotional dendrochronology, but I want to believe I do as those hillside elders do when I protect my heartwood. In times of distress, their longing roots plunge deeper, awash in emerald oxytocin that drives them even through rock toward the least they need to survive. Like the gnarled giants, I have weathered loss of face and dignity and near loss of mind in my time. Yet it comforts me to think love burrows on like the roots of trees. In this month, the buck moon, silver rain from heaven, tinsels quiet palms in daguerreotype light. Beneath a bruised sky, moon crouches atop a hill, wreathed in blonde clouds. I reach for you, breathless in the indigo fire. You look at me that way, or you do. Your lips name me lunatic, but moonstruck eyes speak your heart. I wake early these summer nights. You are always the first to know. And coming full circle in today's open mic, we share a good deal of collaboration back and forth, and what a blessing it is that we're doing this more and more in every open mic that I attend. And this particular piece I'd like to close with, it was inspired by today's first reader, Lacan, who one night, a few months ago, happened to post on Instagram a beautiful keyboard and a pair of hands. And from that, on a sleepless night, came Passacaglia. One in a million nights, still young, but old enough to know better, interwoven like macrame and fresh streamlets that flee the deep snow for moonlight. You ask me how I knew. We would hold each other through time and space with bird-soft hands that offer latitude, yet remain ever in our orbit with the special gravity of lovers. I say, your hands whose geometry I know line by line, your hands that know me arc by arc. From that night, we ran through the station in one of those rich cities where commuter hubs are filled with collaged moose and deep-fried dough sculptures larger than a human head. Your eyes met mine, and you stopped there, beside an incongruent upright piano. You smiled in impromptu invitation, that I would pause on the stool beside you, our rolling bags quiet, listening too. As your hands touched the keys for the first time, my palms smooth against the denim of your thigh, the echoes of random footsteps in the hall fell silent, and I knew your music would become my leitmotif, your rhythm mine, for all the nights we are given. Thank you, Finn, Genevieve, and poet friends for giving me this afternoon.
I'm going to lead the early applause here. Diabonga! Iweli. Thank you, dear sister, for one, thinking of this, two, drawing Finn into our circle of excitement, and three, giving me the opportunity, absolute starlet. I had to find a set list that was going to match your energy and your passion. So we have some celebrations of being summer July babies, some celebrations of summer Sunday.
Still life with the fire poet. Now, if you can hear us, Genevieve, you're frozen. She's gone up.
I insult the over-enthusiastic rectangle and it goes, okay then, ha. How very funny. Apparently my network bandwidth is low. If I must, I will use the over-enthusiastic rectangle and switch over, but I apologise. I will backtrack a tiny weeny bit. This showbiz, babies. All right. Okay. It is the song to the pavement. Both woke her and cradled her in equal rhythm and comfort, counting out hour changes, the over-enthusiastic rectangle that has become our alarm, our calendars, our letters, our measures, our demon, and maybe our Bible. It hummed every hour on the dot with partners from various continents, resuming project making her ASD addled mind craved order. Accordingly, that makes me a vegetable, apparently. The muse shall not waken. Her curls are filled with delicious daydreams, a heartbeat that pulses for one, while she recounts her shopping list. The muse will not rouse yet. She is a day ahead mentally, opening file boxes of her emails, aware of a busy week ahead. The muse turns slowly. Crumpled curls have become diagonal. Mental health work has taught her nothing worthwhile is ever rushed. Panic is for the unprepared. Her hands still smart from childhood of being told to slow down, Genevieve. Sunday is opening to her. Sunday can now begin. And Houston, can you still hear me okay? We all good in the hood? We're all hood in the good. Great, thank you very much. As Iweli correctly said, we are but 2.5 weeks away from birthday, landing beautifully on a Friday this particular year. So, Cancerian season, I am often mistaken for everything else. She's often mistaken for everything else because we are a very complicated star sign. Mane of vicious gold, eyes that smoulder with hidden oranges under the depths of roaring red. They always confuse her for a Leo. Salt water exposes rugged, crusty pincers, her tiptoes to the side to make an aside before they speak. They always confuse her for a Gemini. Torrent rain masks incoming burnished sun rays, 2 months of unbridled emotion, and period of grasses in their purest green. They always confuse her for being benign. Drowning in obscurity claims hidden by the laws of zodiac set, never knowing the perfection to cry out in July ecstasies. They always confuse her for being soft-shelled. The call for the moon mother as humidity bites your skin and wriggles into the covers of an unkept sterile bed. They always confuse her for the empress, In the beckoning of summer, her pinches more delectable. The emotional ones with paintbrushes instead of charts and commandments, they always confuse truths for tears. Summon to me to the last days of June. She will sing for you ashore again, for a signal of the deepest waves. No one ever said that water had to be cold. Let them be confused. And for my Cancerian sisters, burn with me instead. My favourite works, and there are many from our dear friends, are always attached to mistakes. Those wonderful moments where you capture something that shouldn't have happened, something you weren't expecting. I tried to take a photo of the moon, failed terribly, and ended up with raindrop stars. This is a favourite Charlotte Falconbridge. The moon faded by 5:30, hanging lower than a light bulb, taunting snowfall. Thick camera lens, phone case too cold to hold on to the application, shuddering shutters. No finality, a failed framing brought condensation to the connectivity. It is all sky. Wailing and falling water, sun rays and cold oxygen, a whole universe made by mistake. And the amours that link us all together. Sometimes the worst thing about being a poetess is how very good we are at being bad. This is coffee breakfast. Ooh. How do you like your eggs in the morning? This hazy Sunday morning, the hours lost in the folds of faded green cotton, counting the line depths in your curved fingers as they meld with my digits, the ghost scent of romance. A teenage dare of movement. Who will leave comfort first? The intimate human movement, the breaking of the fast of solitude. If we sizzle the morning foods, far past the single hours, do we commit to continuation? Bringing in the expectations of tomorrow. I always run out of air when I say that bit. Whew. Coffee compromise, no commitments. A day's shower fills the room, lengthening the hours into noon. No words, no troubles, just lattes. Maybe Monday, some honesty. That this is fine for breakfast. Is it dinner and family worthy? Happy with burnt eggs and very late mornings. We have been on a political roll because the world is rolling politically. So it stands to reason that an old piece from 2020 comes back out and screams again. There are many people who like to use my heritage and my toning for political movement. So utilising a fantastic writer who wrote Push, which is a novel that made Precious the movie. This is from Mona Lofton, Sapphire Black. Gaze upon the stone-hearted soul that stays grey instead of gold when fire is required, shies from dire and stays stun-lit against terror. For the fear of label of shiny, undeniable, forceful, unagreeable, sapphire girl. The sapphires push for trouble. They redouble on scant words said by fools, cause lines to turn heads in shopping malls by consistent, clear-spoken no's. Unset teacups in undereducated dinner time talk make those saying unintentional oppression seagull squawk, flutter, get mad, because there's too much talk. Angry met by angry until that's all the black women are known for. But sapphires are precious jewels. September rocks inlaid in society's rules that say, women don't shout back. Don't glare like that. Don't write poetic manifestos, are too precious for this cruel world. Sapphire Sappho will have none of that. Pulling off her mammy cap, her Jezebel garter, and her exotic map to stand pulpit tall, eyes glaring at the back wall, declaring to a graduating class, speak up. You owe your world that. Ages since I read that. How am I doing for time, Finn? Are we good in the hood?
Unmute. Yes, you're okay. Sorry.
Yeah, cool. Then go into something a bit more romantic and very much in the spirit of my dear Owelli. This is Raining Sideways. The air pushed hard against the windows, relief withheld like a taunting from heaven. The perspiration rose in steady waves, a reminder how softly the skin breathes. A tear from heaven fell upon a hopeful forehead, followed quickly by her sister's. At the same moment, a metal worm wove its way to my favourite city. Rain and train, same speed. The tears losing velocity and their winning streak diagonally, making crystal beauty, reminding me of your eyes. And on that steam travelling theme, I had to dig hard for this for Marianne. I found an old piece that I've slightly changed since I started learning new languages. To be lost in love and then lost in the city. This is New York, Paris, lost. What language do I speak now? So beguiled on your home tongue, I trip over my thoughts as I wallow in new sentences. Coffee tastes strange. Don, suka, ushigel. No honey lacing anymore, stomping over sweet Zs and S's. Dull tone misnumbers between the noughts and X's. Every city looks like a labyrinth, used to your rough hand palmistry as a routeway across the world. From Arc de Triomphe traffic to lost socks in Central Park, running away from the sodden remains, planting a solo flag on a runway, no more triumphant absences. Reorientation in city star signs. Airport staff are welcoming strangers. Busy bars are dreary kinds of comatose, forlorn in unused old ashtrays, coming back to brick suburbia, knowing your white day passing, floating in and out of glances. The envy emerald against the Liffey, sort of dazzling fantasy of existence, onward and onward to a new zip code. New York, Paris, Dublin, Casablanca, Hodoko, Brasilia. Home. 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 And I was so happy that Marianne mentioned about Lexington, because I too, and let it, all of us appearing in it, it's soon, I think it was going to be out in September. And this was the only piece that I got in there because I didn't do it very well, and I'm surprised I got in there at all. But a reference to how poorly Halle Bailey was treated as the Little Mermaid, and this is a consistent problem. This is the dreams we sing for. Oh, oh, oh. The curl that rings in a restrained note. These the dreams we sing for. A golden hair half dark lifts at the nape of my neck. We sing for and can feel her eyes closing in focus, searching the breath of powerful lungs. These the dreams we sing for. These the gifts we give small children. These the dreams we search for, surrender to training, making vocal jet streams. These are the dreams that we hope for, giving in to what we are made for, to hit an ocean floor and rise like a torrent. These dreams we live for without chances, otherwise no new mermaids are ever born. We sing so a voice can echo against a piano and make a sea line score. And for the joy of bringing us together, two last pieces that are as much about different types of family and this great family that we are part of. Midnight Family. I am a night writer, states by my student, explaining his philosophy, his words of consideration elevated in a rhyme scheme. Bad praxis for a teacher to note that he is joining a dynasty of quiet ones by candlelight, tormented by the end of daytime, by the need to record the world they see. No romance without mythology. A different kind of family. Already his eyes are attuned to the parallels in speech. Ears prepared for the juxtapositions in thought, the circular nature of memory. Night calls this breed to meditate with inky hands and find melodies in traffic jams, syncopation in coffee machines. Rare is the night when the mind proves to be silent, often tormented by ideas before slumber finally brings its peace. And for it feels so very fitting. We're known as poets for romance, so let's end on romance. Let's fall in love, which is in Flora Fiction. I have felt the inches between our hands, the electrical charge as we move in unison, fingers caressing the air. Prickling heat waves, temperatures rising as a word died on our lips. Galaxies emerge in the depths of a pupil, charting each other's star maps. Our auras are melding. The colours intensify as we give birth to something else. Sunlight turns amber, synchronized by the morning chorus. Raindrops tap out your name, harmonizing gently at the end of a breath, joined in a forgotten lyric. The delicate table tennis made of half-court glances, reflecting our growing anticipation. Let's fall in love. We have been descending for just under a decade to gain stability as we fall ever forward, accepting our emotional reality. And for now, that's all she wrote.
Whoa, unmute yourselves. A big round for Genevieve, Marianne, and of course, a little help from some Congo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was brilliant, guys. Wonderful stuff. Fantastic. Wow. Wow. I'm speechless now. I'm speechless. That was great. Thank you very much indeed. I hope you're not too tired, Marianne, after just your jet setting about today and things. So getting in and just getting zoomed in. Thank you for doing that. Thank you both. We'll just get move on. That's all we can do. And it's another welcome back for a while. Kayana, the artist.
Mm. Hi, everybody. I'm out here Ubering, but great to see everybody. Hello. And hola, como está to all my people. Bonjour for every other language as well. Okay, I'm doing my two poems. As everyone have seen, haven't been here, but it's been a roller coaster world, I call it. But